This year I finished 6 years as socius. Contrary to what people think, it's not all secretarial work. It's been an interesting job, and certainly one unexpected for me, but it's pulled me out of the confines of a particular apostolate and enabled me to see the wider perspective of the province and also of the society. You see so many people doing good work on so many different fronts because God's work is spelled out on many fronts. That's what Ignatius saw. It's evident in his meditation on the Incarnation. It comes across in the writing of the constitutions. How to effectively insert himself and his men into the work of the Lord, to labor in the Lord's vineyard, with the Lord, to find God in all things is a great Ignatian legacy, one that we as Jesuits are called to share, both individually and as a religious body in the Church.
Right after ordination in 1999, I was assigned to Cambodia. So I had to go to the villages to look after their housing needs, their occupation, their employment, their needs for ponds, for wells, for roads, many other works that are not necessarily spiritual but are important. Of course, you see, the Lord toils and the Lord works with us as we work with people. Quite difficult. It's difficult. And so, oftentimes, we as human persons, we always feel tired and lonely. And I often feel so limited in my response. There are just so many problems around that I cannot handle. If St. Francis Xavier were here today, and if he were my spiritual director, I have so many questions to ask him. Did you feel like you have to be a jack of all trades for all these people? And if so, how did you handle them in your time? The second thing I would ask St. Francis Xavier would be, did you ever feel lonely? While you were in Goa, while you were in Malacca, while you were in how did you handle your loneliness? You know, when you're alone, everybody calls you Father, Father, Father. And you have no one to talk to. You have no one to share your burden. You know, despite the loneliness, and despite the difficulty and the exhaustion that goes with having to work in a foreign mission, if somebody asks me today, would you like to go back to the foreign mission? I will say, it's very, very easy for me to imagine having to grow old and die in a foreign land. Say, why? Because it's when these people smile back at me and when these people accept me in their home that I feel so happy. That I feel that I have finally shared God's love to them. This, I think, is what St. Francis Xavier has found. When he traveled to so many places, he found home in every place.
Xavier was described to be a very kind man with very attractive manners, and therefore I think he easily drew people to himself. And these personal contacts that he made with these men and women whom he was looking after is the very main tool that he used in order to bring them back or make them stay in the Catholic Church. Instead of using ideas or debates in order to keep them, to persuade them to stay in the Catholic faith, what he did in fact was make friends, befriend these people, and through many conversations in the process of attending to them personally, he was able to bring about reform in their own lives, be revitalized members of the Catholic Church. I've been doing spiritual direction for about 11 years at Emmaus Center and giving the spiritual exercises for about 8 years with the Center for Ignatian Spirituality. And this ministry is very, very consoling because we are constantly able to experience or to see how God breaks into the lives of people, how He touches them deeply, and how transformation, lasting transformation, takes place as a result. Whatever ministry we are in, I think it's very important not to forget the person. For instance, among our students, Sure, they are there and their main concern is to learn, and perhaps as a teacher your main concern is to transfer knowledge or to transfer skills, but behind this person who comes to us for learning is really a person who has feelings, who has needs, who has concerns, and it's very important that when we deal with them, we always remember that. I think this is the gift of favor for our times.
Why are we celebrating this Jubilee year in a special way? If you look at our country today, there are so many things that seem to be going wrong. The saints we celebrate this Jubilee year have a gift to give our people. And if you look at our situation with poverty, with political instability, people ask, where is God? People feel that God seems to be absent, God has abandoned us. Secondly, people are really tired. When you talk to people, people seem to be enervated. People say, this is the same problem, these problems just keep on coming back. And the energy to do something, the passion to change things seems to be lacking. People have become cynical, people have given up. Third, amidst all this, there's a lot of disunity. People feel opposed to one another. In the midst of all this, I think our three saints say something very important. Ignatius, with his vision, says to the world of today, look again, look with my eyes. See Christ working in the world. See Christ through His Spirit working and be part of what I'm doing to create something better, something that will give life and hope to people. We can ask for Ignatius' eyes this Jubilee year. Ignatius, who looked at himself and saw not just a human being, but somebody who could take part in a great enterprise to bring life and hope to people. We would like to share in Ignatius' way of seeing reality in ourselves. And what about Xavier? We think of Xavier as a man with a burning heart. And that's what we need too. When people are tired and cynical, when people are depressed and seem to feel that there's no point, we've done it always and it's never succeeded. You look at Xavier going through the jungles of Malacca, you see Xavier allowing himself to be spit upon by Japanese children, and you see a man whose heart was filled with passion, born of love for God, born of love for people, a spirit that we need today. We need passion, a share of Xavier's passion. Faber was a quiet companion, somebody who accompanied people, who walked with them, who journeyed with them, who cared for them. He was a little like Jesus in the stories of the resurrection. Jesus would see people who were tired, who were depressed, and He didn't do anything great. He just prepared breakfast for them. He just talked to them. He just reached out to give them peace, and that's what Faber did. And that's what we need too, Faber's caring spirit. When people ask who founded the Society of Jesus, the answer most people give is Ignatius of Loyola. But actually, even though there was one man who gathered the companions, the society began with a group of friends who shared a vision, who shared the same kind of passion and dreams, a group of friends who had to decide among themselves what they would do together to serve God, to serve the church. This year I think we would like to remember that, as we remember that the Society of Jesus began in companionship, in friendship. That's a grace we'd like to renew for ourselves. We want to be able to share a dream together. We want to be able to share a spirit together. We want to be able to share friendship with each other, and we want to care for each other more deeply. And so we hope that this year of the First Companions will be a year not only of remembering the companionship which gave birth to the Society of Jesus, but in a special way, a year in which we deepen the companionship among Jesuits and the companionship between Jesuits and lay partners.